But working with coding, then working with kind of digitization, where do you see the next big area of development? It could be in sustainability, but in construction in general, where would you see the next big area of development?
I think one of the kind of urgent development that I think it's coming quite fast is the whole kind of the discussion around biodiversity.
Yeah.
And it's really like circularity,
yeah.
Like this biodiversity. Like now we're talking about LCA, and I think in a few, like they already talking about biodiversity is coming really fast.
Yeah.
And we have to transition to that even faster than we did to LCA, because like suddenly we have to include that as well.
Yeah.
So that I think that is like the first thing that is coming in that direction.
Yeah.
But then circularity, and that's like I think that's a whole different beast too, because right now everything we do is basically linear. Right?
Yeah.
And it has some nice. It makes it easy because then you just hand it off to the next one and. Like you forget what the last guy did.
Exactly.
And that make processes easy.
Yeah.
But if you have to...
The responsibility is not there either, you know. You hand it over now, that's...
Yeah,
I've done my job.
The contracts.
I've done my job.
Yeah, right. But if you start to have to do this circularity thing, I think you have to think about things in a whole different way, and you have to make structures that are totally different. And suddenly, I think maybe what is the most challenging thing is that your building has to or your building components have to live for whatever 50, 100 years, but your data also have to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And we are still like kind of in the infancy of data, and like should you use text files, should you XML, JSON, all these things, they're popping up, but we don't really have, like we're almost at a track record of 50 years with digital information. But so we have to double that, right? If we have to capture some of these building components.
And the reality of it is that I think the technology, the softwares, you know, the programs, they're all there already. I think it's our inability to connect all the dots linear and then connect it circular and go, this is the process. And I think we're struggling with that as an industry because of that traditional linear handover responsibility, step back, you know, I've my job done, I'm not on the project anymore, obviously I've nothing to do with that. Whereas I always relate it back to a pearl, like clothing, you know, where you buy your t-shirt, you buy your jeans, you don't know where it's come from, you don't know who's manufactured, you don't know anything about it, and then suddenly it's yours, but it's not yours, it's disposable. I can wear it once. And that all needs to change, including in the built environment, right? But that mindset change, that's a huge society shift from what we know today. Yeah. And that's probably a generational thing. Like we're not going to do that we're not going to do it in the next 5 years anyway. No. You know?
And I think maybe what makes it even more challenging is that you don't just step on the next thing. Like the next step, like you have to do it granularly. So all your solutions, they have to be adapting to both be able to do the full thing, but also kind of nothing, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have all these middle solutions in between. That is
absolutely
half right, right? And when you have to make a circle, and
how does that all work together?
And I think it's a big challenge.
Some of it is the application. Other side, I think, is policy as well. We need to change policy, and I like now the idea of ESG, if we can get away from the fluff, you know, and the greenwashing around it. But if we can really get down to strategic reporting on ESG, it's pushing the responsibility back on everybody to look at their supply chain, even including the individuals like me and you when we purchase things. Yeah. And I think it's one of the biggest shifts, I think, in our industry in the last 50, 60, 100 years, perhaps. The Industrial Revolution, maybe.